Hello viewers, welcome to Farming in Africa. Today we have an interesting guest who is visiting our farm here at Sementia Farms in Brekum. We just received our next batch of Boa Kalahari Savannah goat from South Africa, and they are now at the farm. And you know, as part of the procedure in bringing these goats from South Africa to Ghana, we need to have the veterinary officers come in and do some tests of their own to go and check if we meet all that is required of us to bring these goats here to Ghana. So they are going to do this process, and I also have the opportunity to interview one of these veterinary officers to learn more about what they do, what they are here to do today, and a general overview of what the veterinary service do here in Ghana. So if this is something you're interested in, stay with me and let's have this interview. Welcome to Sementia Farms. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Dr. Amponsa. I'm a senior veterinary officer from Kumasi Veterinary Lab.
Okay. Yeah. So you are here today to do an exercise. So can you take us through the exercise that you are here to do?
So routinely when animals are being imported into the country, at the country of origin, they are supposed to do some checks at that place for the importing country. So if those ones have not been done at the country of origin, immediately they get into our country. We also have to screen them and know that they are free from those diseases that we are talking about. So there are some diseases that the importing country, which is Ghana, would not allow into our country. So we basically are going to screen for these particular diseases and then know what is really going on the farm. So we are going to screen for a number of things and then check the general health and well-being of the animals as well.
Okay, so even before we go into these things that you are coming to screen for, can you take us through the process of importing from the veterinary angle when I want to import goods or whatever from another country, Switzerland, South Africa, US?
Okay, so before you import any animal from a country to Ghana, you need to first get import permit from the Veterinary Services Department. And then when we say the import permit, there are requirements that you are supposed to meet. If you don't meet those requirements, you are not allowed to bring the animals into the country. So the fact that your animals are already in the country means that you have met the minimum requirements for the importation. That is why the animals have in. It means that they also have the import permit. So when they are in country, we also need to do our assessment. You've done the work, you've done your testing and other things there. We also need to second check whatever you said you have done. So basically that is what we are just doing here.
So let's say in the rare case where I bring in my animals and you come and do your checking and realize maybe there's something that they missed from the country of origin, what happens then?
So that one is good. Their animals are already in the country, so we may have to have a discussion with the importer and see the best way forward. So if there is a disease we can't tolerate in the country, we may have to kill the animal or slaughter the animal. If it is something that we can manage, then we will manage the case for you.
Okay, all right. But have there been a lot of goat importation in Ghana from when you started working?
I really can't speak to that data. The authority to speak to that data is the preventive unit, head of preventive unit in Accra.
Okay. Okay, but from your end, let's say from your office,
I've seen a couple of people do goat import in the country, yes. And not just goats. People have also bring different breeds of pigs, cattle. And there have been a number of concerted efforts to improve the local breed. Yes. So from time immemorial, people have brought in. And when we say importation, it's not just from Europe or other things. Even animals coming from Burkina is an importation. So all these Sahelians that I see here, it's an attempt to improve the local breed. Exactly. So,
But how has that been? Are we able to? Because it's been. I've also. I think there was a time I heard about some. Is it cattle or pig that were imported and they have to be kept under air conditioning and all that. But yeah, how is that journey been like? How
So
you be able to improve?
that is a critical case that you
Yeah.
will really have to look at, because um, Ghana has its own peculiar diseases.
Yeah.
We have our own way of keeping these animals.
Okay.
So basically, it's not, um, especially when it comes to the cattle.
Yeah.
If you are bringing these, maybe these Frisians that, or these dairy cattle that
Yeah.
they have special environmental requirements, special weather requirements, and other things, they barely do survive
Ghana.
in our countries, and especially they are very, very susceptible to some of the diseases that our local breeds are very resistant to. So a disease that a local breed will be able to resist, if you import.
Might not. Yeah.
Exactly. So a common scenario is how we can sleep in mosquito-laden environment, not get really sick,
Sick,
but
yeah.
a white person comes in, and then if
Yeah.
nothing is done there, exactly. So those are some of the issues that we find with these things. But
Okay.
I think with more involvement with the veterinary services,
Yeah.
some of these things can be curtailed,
Marketing, yeah.
because most of the time the importers have their money, they import, and then at the point of entry where they get their animals, that is the end of the veterinary services. But if we are involved in the entire chain,
Yeah.
from the airport till the point of slaughter,
Yeah.
a lot could be discussed, and then we could salvage most of these animals that are
Yeah.
dying.
Okay. So that's even where the next point I was coming to, that how involved even not only those who import but our local farmers, how involved, how much they involve the veterinary service to into their farms.
So that is a very so.
Okay, so you can take, let's say, from your office side, like looking at the number of farmers maybe in your municipality, in your region, how much is that
So I would
correlation?
say there is some contact with veterinary services
Yeah.
when there is a problem,
Okay.
and that is the problem.
Yeah.
So most farmers would wait for the problem to come before they try to look for a solution. How about we try to put in preventive measures to prevent the problem from occurring? Because if your animal gets a hyperacute disease, by the time you reach out to the veterinary people and then they come in, it's already a dead
It's
case.
already, yeah.
So why don't you involve the veterinary right from the word go, and then involve them at every point of the way?
Yeah.
And then the other aspect about food animals is the farmer feels like, well, in the worst case scenario, when the animal die, I'll still use that food.
You eat
So, I mean, why do I have to bring the vet? But like I always say, taking a dead animal to the vet is not to resurrect the animal, but then to get the cause of death, to protect the remaining ones.
the rest.
Other than that, you say you are doing farming, but you keep on letting your animal come under diseases, and you keep eating your animals
Yeah.
yourself. And at the end of the day, business does not go on. There's a truncation of business.
Yeah, even talking about dead animals, I know with some farmers, especially the cattle farmers, when the animal is sick and they see that, okay, maybe this animal will not be able to survive, then it's sent to the slaughterhouse and then to the market. And we are the ones that are consuming these animals without even knowing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that boils down to religion, where Muslims don't really eat dead animals.
Yeah.
So they know that the animal is going to die. If the animal dies on its own, it can't chew the animal.
Yeah.
So they will do the halal. They will just slaughter.
Slaughter it.
And it means that they have killed the animal. So then that means that they can really
You can
chew the
eat it,
animal.
yeah.
But that is the problem. You don't know what killed the animal.
Yeah.
Recently, we had cases of anthrax. So you may not know what killed the animal, and the animal is about to die or the animal is dead, and you go and chew the animal. And at the end of the day, the humans also start dying. So that is what is happening in the upper regions of Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, where there is anthrax case. By the time we realize that this is anthrax, the human beings are already dying.
Yeah.
And that is what raises the alarm. So, I mean, it's not advisable to eat sick or dead animals. But then that is another discussion
Yeah,
that
that's
borders on cultural and socio-economic
Yeah.
things about our
Yeah,
people.
I think
But
also some people, maybe just them losing their investment is,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
don't want to lose all
So
that
the
money.
point is, if you know it's an investment, why don't you do everything to protect the investment? Why do you
Exactly.
have to wait till the dead end before you decide to slaughter? It doesn't
Exactly.
make sense to me
Yeah.
at all. Our sense of approach when it comes to farming in this part of our world is really something that we should have a look at. It's something we should really have a look at, because I mean, why are people succeeding elsewhere? Why are we
Elsewhere,
not
why
able
we
to
not?
succeed? Is it because we are not seeing it as a business? Is it because we are not seeing it as a science? Because doing farming, there's so much science that goes on in farming.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then sometimes we feel like we know it all, and that is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But what are some of the most common diseases that affect our goats here in Ghana? Like the most
Okay,
common one?
so I'll say the most common cause, especially, would be maybe PPR.
Okay.
Yeah, other people call it diarrhea pneumonia complex, where you see your animal running, having watery stools, discharges from the nose. That is a very common thing that we really find. And then recently, the Economic Community of West Africa, ECOWAS, and we are trying so hard to eradicate PPR by 2020, 2030.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've realized that that is a major problem.
Problem.
And another major problem that is also in these animals is these abortive
Yeah. Yeah.
pathogens,
Yeah.
where maybe Brucella, maybe Leptospira, all those kind of things that is causing abortions, and then a whole lot of things. And another thing is also ticks.
Okay.
Ticks and then cheche flies, bringing a lot of blood parasites, babesia, anaplasma, and then all those things. Because in our part of the country, we think that ticks are normal
Yeah.
on these animals, but then they are not really normal.
Yeah.
They transmit just as mosquito is transmitting malaria. The ticks is not just only transmitting maybe babesia. There's anaplasma, the cheche fly, maybe also bringing a whole lot of other things in these are ruminants. But then we don't consider them.
Yeah.
So,
I think it all boils down to the
and then
education.
the thing is also, the animal is not putting on weight. You see, the animal is smallish, it's chalcetic, it's
Yeah.
eating, but then chronically the
It's
animal
still
is not
small.
putting
Yeah.
on weight. It affects, so that means that your feed conversion rate is affected, your profit margin is affected. So we are not really doing it as a business. We are not really looking at the sign. How many farmers even know feed conversion ratio? Because they are just going into the
Great.
pasture
And
to
then yeah.
graze. He's not putting in the.
Yeah.
But then look at the man hours. They are staying on your farm. If the animal is supposed to mature in 9 months and then it's taking you 1 year or 1 year and a half, man hours is gone. Maybe you may have to do some vaccination, you may have to do some treatment,
And even the feed.
the
You
feed,
have
I
to
mean.
keep
So
feeding them.
all of those things, the man hours, we are not really quantifying it, and then it's really affecting
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
You see how the poultry farmers see their poultry farm as an investment.
Yeah.
They are on a timetable. This time we are doing vaccination. This time we are doing deworming. This time round we are doing this. This time round we are doing this. And if their production is going down, they start chasing the vets.
Yeah.
They start chasing drugs. But then when it comes to ruminants, it's a different ball game
It's like I
altogether.
think it's like most people just take it as a hobby. Yeah,
Exactly,
you don't
exactly.
really
We are
have
not doing it as a business.
big farms like that, because
Exactly.
it will be hard for you to go to a farm where they'll be able to even supply you a goat every day to like,
Not very
it's
possible.
not possible.
Yeah,
But
not
yeah,
possible.
that's the idea. That's what we are trying to do. That yeah, maybe in the near future, when you need a breeding goat, you come here and then we're able to maybe give you 10 that these goats are.
Exactly,
for breeding,
because I
exactly.
mean, the ones that you are importing, they already have the genetic makeup. So with a little bit of feeding and then environmental and other things, I'm
Be
sure
able
you
to-
are. Well, the breeding has already been done. The genetic
Yeah.
makeup is top notch. So
Yeah.
you just have to add
It's the,
just a little.
the feeding and all that. And
Exactly,
then,
exactly.
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
coming here. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two from this interview about the operations of the veterinary service and how we are able to import these goods here to Sementia farms and to other farms in Ghana. If you're interested in having some of these goats as your farm, don't hesitate to contact us on the WhatsApp number below. And if you are new here, don't forget to also subscribe to this channel for more informative video. Till I see you next time. Bye-bye.
Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear